concept of social justice, justice as fairness. It consists of two principles, the basic liberties and fair equality of opportunity. The first principle of social justice concerns political institutions, the basic liberties. This principle means that everyone has the same basic liberties which can never be taken away. Each person has the same and permanent claim to a fully adequate scheme of equal basic liberties, which scheme is compatible with the scheme of liberties for all. The second principle of social justice concerns social and economic institutions. Social and economic inequalities are to satisfy two conditions. First, they are to be attached to offices and positions open to all under conditions of fair equality of opportunity. And second, they are to be the greatest benefit of the least advantaged members of society, which is the difference principle. This second principle focused on equality. Rawls realized that a society could not avoid inequalities among its people. Inequalities result from such things as one, inherited characteristics, social class, and personal motivation. One way for a society to do this would be to eliminate discrimination. The most controversial element of his theory of social justice was his difference principle. All differences in wealth and income, all social and economic inequalities, he wrote, should work for the good of the least favored.
What is disability rights? It is about the safety of people with disabilities and freedom from violence. Effective access to justice for people with disabilities, non-discrimination, respect for inherent dignity and individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own decision. Full and effective participation and inclusion in the community. Many people with disabilities live in conflict settings or in developing countries where they experience a range of barriers to education, healthcare, and other basic services, not only in Philippines but also in many countries. They are subjected to violence and discrimination. People with disabilities are also often deprived of the right to live independently, as many are locked up in institutions, shackled or cycled through the criminal justice system. As everyone else, people with disabilities have a fundamental human rights like freedom, respect, equality, and dignity. They have the rights to live full potential, to exercise control over their life, and to live free from abuse or neglect.
In line with the first part of John Rawls' second principle of justice is the fair equality of opportunity, which requires that citizens with the same talents and willingness to use them have the same educational and economic opportunities, regardless of whether they were born rich or poor. Rawls says that those with similar abilities and skills should have similar life chances. Human rights are important to all human beings, regardless of nationality, race, region, or gender. People with intellectual or developmental disabilities have the same legal rights as others. Throughout the world, people with disabilities are denied their rights to be included in a wide range of services, from education to healthcare. Many people with disabilities are often forgotten and is put away in institutions because they cannot function in society. Describing disability as something that must be overcome and something a person will go on to succeed in spite of is an oppositional framing. If the lives of disabled people are portrayed in this way, it risks being used as a stick to beat those disabled people who are not sufficiently cheerful, who do not have enough motivation, and fail to complete certain tasks. Disabled people are more likely to live in poverty, more likely to be unemployed, more likely to face discrimination in the workplace. These barriers are social, not personal, and cannot be overcome through sheer force of will. What's notable about many of the high-profile people with disabilities we see in news isn't that they overcame their disabilities. They overcame the social obstacles presented to disabled people. In other words, they succeeded not only because of their brave qualities, but because they were provided with every advantage in life, something all disabled people should have. And that is what John Rawls pointed out, the fair equality of opportunity.
As previously said, every human being, regardless of their background, ethnicity, race, gender, or age, possesses human dignity. As a result, anyone with an autistic spectrum or disability conditions has the same constitutional rights as everyone else. Rejection, disparagement, harassment, and denial of ownership have been everyday experiences for people with intellectual, cognitive, and psychosocial disabilities. What was once thought to be the most liberal social policy has somewhat become a condescending, self-justifying system that severely limits the freedom of individuals with disabilities. Disabled people were also coerced by society to attend mental institutions and asylums. There are still areas that need to be addressed despite all of the numerous regulations for the disabled. More individuals are becoming aware of the rules that protect the disabled and their efforts to integrate into the society. Concerning Rawls' theory of justice, several Rawlsian supporting philosophers have proposed changes that would grant individuals with disabilities a more prominent and more active role in the social contracting process. According to the social contracting hypothesis, people live together in society under an agreement that creates moral and political rules of conduct. Because people are still discriminated against, the future is uncertain. No legislation will make disabled people equal. All we can hope for is that the perpetrators will be held accountable when they are broken.